I'm an engineering major, despite the fact that I don't really quite understand what an engineer is, or honestly careers for that matter, or graduate school. Hello! First off, I just want to say thank you to everyone who commented on my last video. I've really enjoyed reading those comments. They've been so thoughtful, and thank you for sharing your perspective. Okay, so everybody knows that money in America is a very touchy conversation topic. I don't really care about that. I think this conversation is important, so get your popcorn and let's chat. Let's start with an introduction. Hello, I'm Hannah. I am a student at Dartmouth College, which is a member of the Ivy League. I am a low-income student. I want to clarify right off the bat that I'm not technically first gen. My dad has a bachelor's degree that he worked very hard for, and I want to acknowledge that. My school costs upwards of $80,000 per year. My family of 5 does not have an annual income that's even that high. Dartmouth, however, has great financial aid for low-income families, so I receive a combination of financial aid, scholarships, and grants that covers nearly that whole cost. So just a little background. Only 16% of students at my school are eligible to receive Pell Grants. This statistic is on par with the other Ivy League institutions and equally elite universities. A Pell Grant is a limited federal grant for very high-need students, and only 50% of students at my college receive any form of financial aid. That means that 50% of students at my school can afford to pay the full ticket price of $320,000 over 4 years. That is to say that there is extreme wealth at Ivy League universities, a level of wealth that despite being at my college for a year and a half, I still can't quite comprehend. First-gen, low-income, FGLI students are a minority. And we're gonna talk about that experience because it can be isolating, anxiety-inducing, and confusing. Oh, and before we get in too deep, thank you to Bartleby for sponsoring this video. More on them later. In doing research for this video, I came across a lot of small little documentaries and like news videos, etc. But I came across one other student's perspective on being first-gen low-income at an Ivy League school, and it's funny because I thought he looked familiar, and it turns out he is also a student at Dartmouth. His name is Emmanuel, and I've linked his video with his perspective and experience in the descriptions. Check out Emmanuel's video, and while you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe. The points that I'm going to make are a combination of my personal experience and yours. I asked you guys on Instagram to share with me any perspectives you had about being first gen and or low income at college, and thank you so much to everybody who did. So one of my very first experiences at college was this introductory biology course. It was full of amazing students, many of whom I still am friends with to this day, but one of the things that was very apparent was the discrepancy between their experience and mine. Never got an internship, I never worked in a lab, I did not have those opportunities, so I had never even stepped foot into a lab before. They came in with more experience than I did, and I felt a little overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to handle this? And that is a very common theme when you come from a background where academia is not emphasized. Your parents want you to work so hard in school, they want you to succeed, they want you to do everything, but they can't quite help because they didn't have those opportunities to like learn those skills and learn for themselves. Broader theme that I can relate to from my personal experience, but also was reiterated by so many of you, the lack of knowing what to do or how to approach things because you never had somebody there telling you what to do or telling you how to do things. And this exists on a spectrum for everybody. Like, I was very fortunate in that I always knew my parents would not be able to help me financially through college. I knew it was going to be my own responsibility. Despite them not being able to help me financially, my dad especially put in so much time and effort and research into helping me research colleges with the best financial aid and the best support and the best scholarships I could apply for. And I appreciate that so much, but I also understand that some people didn't even have somebody like that. Quick pause to tell you about today's sponsor, Bartleby. I am so happy to be partnering with Bartleby. I partnered with them in the past in this video right here. This is not just for first-gen low-income students, this is for everybody. Bartleby is a student access hub, like Chegg, but better. They offer a 24/7 question and answer service for your homework questions and access to millions of step-by-step textbook solutions. Bartleby Learn is only $10 a month. Chegg's cheapest plan is $15 a month, and you only get to ask 5 questions per month with Chegg. With Bartleby, you get 30. Especially if you're a STEM student, or even if you're an art student struggling in STEM courses, I would highly recommend them. Again, it's Bartleby. More information will be on them in the description. Seriously, it's such a useful, such a great quality service. Check them out. In addition to feeling a lack of preparedness, there's also this constant feeling of stress and anxiety when it comes to money. Many of us also have to get a job on campus. Since starting college, with the exception of my first term, there has not been a time where I've worked less than 3 jobs. I'm really lucky to so far not had to have gone through this, but there's that stress element from loans and debt that you may acquire if your financial aid package just isn't good enough. When you come from a low income background, you don't have disposable income. Like, you don't. You live to buy groceries. Like, that's what life is. You don't have the experiences of other people. There's, again, another big theme is a fear of a lack of relatability to so many people. Like, I've never left the country. My family couldn't afford to go anywhere. I feel so much less cultured than so many people, and I feel so lucky to be at an institution now where I have those opportunities. I just got accepted into 2 amazing study abroad programs, and I'm so excited to do those next year. Yeah. If you can relate to any of these so far, like and subscribe. Some of the wealthiest people I've met have been also some of the most down-to-earth people ever. I don't think socioeconomic status directly correlates to character at all. There is that fear of judgment, that fear of not being able to participate in things because you can't afford it. I rushed in the fall. Ultimately, I dropped out and I'm not affiliated, but one of my major concerns during rush was affordability. Some of the comments that you guys sent over to me was how, despite financial aid existing in Greek spaces, it's still a financial burden. There's also that never-ending fluctuation between feeling so lucky, so blessed, and like just feeling guilty that other people in similar situations to you didn't get opportunities like this, or like your family at home is like struggling with something while you're having a great time at college or anything like that. This is not meant to be a pity video, not at all. I'm just saying things. Personally, for me, one of the hardest things about being FGLI at college is the pressure to pick a major that will lead to a stable and high-paying career path. I'm an engineering major, despite the fact that I don't really quite understand what an engineer is, or honestly careers for that matter, or graduate school, but that's another topic. That feeling that you need to be an engineer, you need to be major in computer science, you need to be a doctor, anything like that, just be able to be in a better place than you were growing up. It kind of stops you from pursuing things that you're interested in, and that kind of sucks. And like, logically, you understand why you're putting yourself in the places you are, but that doesn't mean you can step out of them and pursue your interests. Like, I don't know, I don't hate engineering. I like engineering. Like I said, I don't even know what engineering is. I don't even know if I like it or I don't like it yet. And this is just at college. I'm not even talking about in this video applying to college, because there's so much pressure put on low-income students where if you don't get the best grades, it feels like college might not even be an option. Like, I'm really proud of my brother and sister for working as hard as they did. My sister has been able to apply to so many schools through Questbridge, and it's beginning to all come together for her, and I'm really proud of her for that. But that's a whole other conversation. All of this being said though, it's not all negative. You hustle more, you know? You feel like you have to work a little bit harder to catch up with everyone else. And there's a beauty in that struggle, in challenging yourself and pushing yourself every day. Going to an elite university gives you so many resources, so many people to talk to, professionally and personally. So many schools, including my own, are growing programs for students who come from underprivileged backgrounds. Assholes do exist, like, I'm not saying they don't, but if you surround yourself with like good, like down-to-earth people, no matter their socioeconomic status, like, you still have a great time. If anything, you add a different voice to the conversation. And at the end of the day, everything means a little bit more. And it's your own journey, and it's a really, really exciting journey, and you have a whole like squad like cheering for you back home. If you're an FGLI student and you're struggling with any of the things I talked about in this video, please seek support from your peers, from different resources available at your institution, whether it be academic help or personal help, just navigating college. If you look for them, the resources are probably available. Okay, so that is it for this video. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to contribute your perspective in the comments below, I would more than welcome you to, yeah. Again, thank you to Bartleby for sponsoring this video. My next video is probably going to be all about my internship at MIT, so if you're interested in that, subscribe, stick around, and yeah, thank you so much for watching. Again, my name's Hannah. Bye!